Welcome to Crossbody of Work. My name is Evan.
I am Javier.
This week, we look at the career of Necro Butcher. Now, we didn't announce who we were going to cover last week. I think we did at the very end. We landed on Necro Butcher. I know nothing of this man. You know more than I do because he was in ROH.
Yes, he was in ROH. He was in CZW. We actually covered a Necro Butcher match before. He was a part
What?
of that massive ROH versus CZW Cage of Death match.
Yes. I was like, there's no way this man has appeared on my TV screen before.
Yes, which I almost put on here, but then I was like, one, that match is way too long. Two, he's not important enough in it. And three, we've already covered it.
So this is Crossbody of Work, a show where we cover wrestlers' career through 5 of the most important matches. And we are looking at the career of Necro Butcher today, also known as Dylan Keith Summers, the lost Summers sibling, I guess, Scott. And then there's
Fuck
also
Cyclops.
Necro Butcher. Dude, no, don't.
Yes, no, we're doing this. All right. I don't understand how someone can look at that Boy Scout piece of dog shit and think, yo, he's cool. He's a narc. Yes, I read the comics. That's why I'm saying this. He's a fucking narc. He always has been a narc. Oh. He is the fucking Boy Scout. He's the one that's like, oh, professor, you forgot to collect the homework. And then he fucking laser beams. Oh, I'm so cool. I shoot lasers out of my fucking eyes. I fucked Jean Grey. Fucked him. Fuck him. It's not even because I like Wolverine, because I do like Wolverine. Don't get me wrong. It's just that
you have a propensity for short Canadians. You're a big fan of them. So,
me,
bitch. Who else? The only Canadian you know.
Hey, you are not the only Canadian that I know.
I know, because we introduced you to All My Friends and Cream Soda. All right, Dylan Keith Summers. He went by the name Necro Butcher because that's a better name, I guess, than Dylan or Keith. What do you know of Necro Butcher?
He is basically Nick Gage without the massive criminal record. So what everyone thinks about Nick Gage nowadays, oh, this guy is the fucking hardcore legend. He like just fucking does everything crazy with like hardcore matches and all this stuff. Yeah, that was just Necro Butcher.
Yeah.
Except Necro Butcher was taller, balding, and which, by the way, I have a theory that the amount of like just the amount of times that he was busted open, especially around his hairline region, is the reason why his hair faded away. However, yeah, he's just like just a normal civilian who just also happens to be fucking insane.
So that's actually a pretty good description. So from Pine Grove, West Virginia, Necro Butcher, he would appear in multiple different promotions: Ring of Honor, Full Impact Pro, IWA Mid-South, PWG, Combat Zone Wrestling. The ones he was probably best known for: IWA Mid-South, Combat Zone Wrestling, Ring of Honor. Those would be the big three that he was known
absolute for. CZW legend, certifiable. Put him in the Hall of Fame.
Put him in the Hall. Put him in the Ring of Honor, like Arthur Blank, who put himself in the Ring of Honor for the Atlanta Falcons.
Would you not do the same?
When I'm dead.
Well, how are you going to put yourself in the Hall of Fame when you're dead? You're dead.
Because if you're alive, it's a fucking insane thing to do. To be like, you know who deserves to be in the Ring of Honor? Me. I deserve to be in the Ring of Honor.
They haven't even won a Super Bowl during his tenure as owner. They've been to one. They've been to 1, 2, whatever the hell. But they have never won one. So it's like, what are you in the Hall of Fame for? Mediocrity? Drafting Julio Jones?
The other people in the Ring of Honor for the Atlanta Falcons, there's some names in here. Some just Jesse Tuggle, Deion Sanders, Warwick Dunn.
Oh,
Roddy White, Matt Ryan.
Damn, Matt Ryan's already in. Jesus.
Yeah, they got him in there quick. They were like, let's go.
But yet Julio's not in there? Jesus.
Well, Julio hasn't retired yet.
He hasn't?
No, he has, but like it's still relatively fresh. I feel like
All right, Matt Ryan was in the NFL 2 years ago.
I forgot that he was in the NFL 2 years ago. I had totally forgotten he was in the NFL 2 years ago. Yeah, I mean, because Matt Ryan was inducted alongside Arthur Blank right now, so they both got in there.
This seems
Hilarious.
racist. That Julio was not in there alongside them seems like racially motivated to me. That's all I got to say about that.
Mr. Dylan Keith Summers made his debut January 2nd, 1998. He teamed with a man named Aaron White to take on Victor Payne and Canyon. He worked small independent shows across Texas, well enlisted in the 20th Special Forces Group, so he's an active service member. Under the name Michael Van Slick. Good name. Good name.
Normally
Not
wouldn't
great
work.
name.
Normally wouldn't work, but I like it.
Michael Van Slick. He eventually changed it to Michael Sanders, which I don't like as much. Michael Van Slick's got something to it. I like that.
Michael Van Slick's got that shit on him. I can't lie to you.
By March of 1999, so only a year in, he had started becoming the Necro Butcher and won his first professional championship, defeating Damon Richards to be the IHW Hardcore Champion. Put that on your trivia questions. Our first match is for a hardcore title. It is the NWA Texas Hardcore title at NWA Southwest Parade of Champions, April 14th, 2000. He's 2 years into his career, and he is taking on Abdullah the Butcher. It is the Butcher Battle, baby.
Is this our first Abdullah the Butcher match?
Yes.
Oh.
We've seen a clip of him somewhere. I don't remember where, but
Couldn't
he's
tell
shown
you.
up somewhere. But it's our first Abdullah the Butcher match.
Abdullah the Butcher is a fucking trip. If we ever do an Abdullah the Butcher episode, which we probably will when we're in our 60s, it's gonna be so fun.
Any man who's got such intense blade marks that he looks like a 4-slice toaster is crazy.
Can we talk about the fact that he looks like that guy who does like the WWE song, like who just sings in front of like the TikToks that are just like, it's time to play the game.
I love that guy.
It's
I love
time
that
to
guy.
play the game.
I love that he does non-WWE ones too. Where he's just, I got hoes. It's the best.
He
It's the
did
best.
Shawn Michaels like yesterday or something like that.
So we get a battle. Abdullah the Butcher, if you don't know, is gigantic. And so Necro Butcher at 6'2", 230 looks very small.
Abdullah the Butcher is built like Mabel if he was like 6 feet tall.
Give me what you think Abdullah the Butcher's listed stats are.
So his listed height is going to be taller than I think he actually is. How tall is Necro Butcher?
6'2".
So Abdullah the Butcher is like 6 feet tall.
You were correct. He's exactly 6 feet tall.
And he is a fat dude, yo. He's got to be like 300.
360 pounds.
Jesus.
1 pound for every degree, baby. Imagine ordering, like, trying to book a butcher for the card and you got the wrong one. Like, imagine thinking you got Necro Butcher and Abdullah the Butcher shows up. I'd be like, oh shit, what?
Well, you got both.
It's like if you were like, yeah, no, we got Reigns coming out of the card, and then Luther Reigns shows up. You're like, fuck.
Do you think that's what happened with the girl next door?
Luther Reigns was supposed to lead the bloodline.
And then the Samoan guy named Joe showed up, so they were like, well, he'll do.
You can be Samoa Joe. This match is weird.
I mean, it's just them stabbing each other. This is a knife fight for 8 minutes. Necro looks like
rubbing his hands together, like, yeah, let's fucking go.
Necro looks like the most indie talent ever.
He's got like Kiss-like face paint and a sleeveless band tee, and I was like, this guy rules.
So indie. Like this is the wrestling like it's literally like someone was like, all right, here's how we're going to structure this match. Have you guys ever heard of the Arn Anderson Psycho Sid like scissor fight? Yeah, that, but like do it
but in a ring.
It wasn't even in the ring, brother.
One of the first things that happens is Abdullah tosses Necro to the outside and then smacks him with a stop sign. He gets tossed into the snack table, which don't disrespect the snack table like that.
I will say, when I went to an indie show a few months ago, the snack table was literally just Domino's pizza.
That's not bad.
They got like one of those variety bag of chips,
Okay.
Like with the big bag that has like smaller bags in them. It's like you get 6 Doritos, 6 Cheetos,
Yeah.
4 Fritos. It's like you get. Also, I just realized something.
They all
Doritos,
rhyme.
Fritos, Cheetos. What?
Yeah. Yeah. They're trying to capitalize on, I don't know, all the fans of rap music.
How is this profitable for Frito Lay?
I can make money off this. Abdullah hits some hands, tosses the chair at Necro's face, and then starts slicing with a broken bottle. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. This is exactly what I
Yeah,
thought it would be.
that sounds about right. So Necro
He was
throws.
never like gone aside from that CZW ROH match, has never gone out of the way to like watch a Necro Butcher match. I was like, I know he's a deathmatch guy, so like, okay, this man is 2 years into his career and he's like, cut me with the bottle, Mick. Like,
Cut me
no,
with a bottle. He
he
throws
stabs
Coke.
Abdullah with a fucking screwdriver.
He throws Coke at Abdullah's face and then stabs him with a shank. Uh,
He's
I
in the
called
top
it
of
a
the head.
shank.
Bow, bow,
It's a
bow, bow.
screwdriver. I called it a shank.
And then Abdullah's got a fork and he's apparently looking for servings of Necro's head.
He is stabbing the hell out of that man. Someone in the crowd is shrieking.
That's exactly what I wrote. I was like,
Shrieking.
you ever try to show wrestling to a friend and you pick somehow the worst episode?
Yes,
And
I showed Kelly the fucking Chris Jericho, Eddie Kingston like barbed wire rope match that happened on AEW, and she is still traumatized to this
oh
day
man.
about that. Like she does not want to watch an AEW match because she's scared of that.
Um, sometimes I get lucky. I showed my friend who wanted to get back into wrestling the SummerSlam four-way between like Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe and Braun Strowman. He was like, I'm fucking in. He was like, I'm so in. But I have also had people be like, "What's wrestling like?" And they like look it up and they see like Bobby Lashley and his three sisters. I'm like, "No, it's better than that. I
Bobby
promise."
Lashley.
Um,
Um,
the full on shrieks are alarming. So I guarantee this person was like, "Oh, like a nice night out. Maybe it's a first date." And she's like, "Yeah, like I don't know about this guy. He's taking me to a wrestling show." And then she sees a murder.
there is so much blood. This is like the Daniel Day-Lewis movie. There will be blood, except instead of oil, it's just blood.
I've abandoned my child.
I've abandoned my boy.
Um, Getting forked sounds terrible. Of all of the it's the middle though of the three utensils because like I love getting spooned.
Getting
I don't want to
forked.
get knifed, but getting forked is not good either.
Getting forked sounds like something like a Mormon would say when they're mad at you.
That
It's like
no,
you could
yeah,
get
forked.
forked.
I think forking is something that Mormons do.
No,
I haven't
that's
watched.
soaking, Evan.
No. I
So
guarantee they figured out something for forking too, where it's like actually if you
if you
just do
shove
this,
the fork up your ass.
if you're actually not hard and you just splinter it with a fork, it doesn't count.
Actually, if you stick a tube in it, it's like at this point, just have sex. Why is someone shaking the bed?
I love that. 'Cause, like,
Insertion is still sex,
I
man.
think it's the most important. Like, I feel like asking someone to marry you in Mormon culture is easier than asking someone to be your bouncer. Like, you gotta really be certain. Like, hey, man, I'm gonna just like sit with it in Jessica. Do you mind being under the bed and giving it the old heave ho?
The fact that there are people at BYU that legitimately charge money to be soakers.
And then they don't drink caffeine. Though I will say, so I travel for work all the time, and I was at a hotel recently, and they had like the Mormon soda bar set up with all the syrups and this. Have you seen the drinks they do? Because they don't drink caffeine.
No.
So in like Mormon culture, it's a
Is
big thing.
caffeine's against the fucking what? Is it because cocoa beans come from ethnic countries? Like,
I'm unfortunately laughing, but I feel like you're probably not far off. No, so they have like the thing with like the different syrups and the soda water, and the way you make it is you pour the syrup, or you could get ice in a cup, and you put the syrup in, and then you put the soda water in, and then you're supposed to add creamer, and that's what makes it like a fun soda pop, and then you add whipped cream on it. And I was like, I'm not putting cream in this. Like this is a nice soda water now that tastes like strawberry kiwi. Why the fuck would I put dairy creamer in this? And the guy working the hotel was like, you gotta do it. It's the way it's supposed to be done. And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
I'm not going to do that. Thank you for your suggestion. I will not be taking it.
um, There's a
Also, go
fucking
fork yourself.
there's an elbow drop from just standing position. And Abdullah wins the Texas Hardcore title. I was like,
Just a
this is
big right hand running elbow drop. Admittedly, listen, man, a running elbow drop after you've been stabbed 18 times, and also that's a 360-pound man.
yeah.
You know, the
So
worst part is this dude got. I kid you not. Necro Butcher was stabbed by various items no less than 15 times during
yeah,
this match. And somehow this is not the most amount of blood we see from him in this episode.
it's not. So for context, Javier picked the matches this week, and I see the next thing, and it's a promo because we always do a promo too, and it's like promo NWA Southwest sometimes before his next match in May against Canyon. All right, sure. I love a good promo. Let's see. It's a minute long. Okay, so he's only got a minute to kind of talk about his stuff. So apparently, the last time Necro Butcher and Canyon had a match, which I don't know if it's the Canyon that we know from wrestling because it's spelt differently.
I don't think so. I think it's a
I don't
different.
think so either. So obviously, who better than Canyon was with a K and was in WCW this time. This is Canyon with a C. I love
No,
the
this
idea
is
of
a
just
different person.
this is just it's just an actual Canyon. So apparently, the ref stopped the fight
He's fighting
between
Canyon.
Necro. He's just punching a fucking rock.
He fell in. That's how he's just dead now.
They're gonna be in a cage, and he's like, "I don't care what you bring in the cage. I don't care what you do." And then he proves his point. And
So some people call me a freak, and it's true.
the
Some
way
people say I can't
Necro
feel
Butcher
pain. It's also true.
decides to prove his point is by grabbing a stapler and being like, "Look at this," and just wah 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 wah. He staples his own arm repeatedly.
Fuck him up.
I was like,
And then he takes two thumbtacks, puts them on the table that's right next to him, and just headbutts the fucking table. And then one wasn't enough. He does it again to another one, and then he gets close to the camera, and it's just leaking blood right there. And you see the thumbtack in his fucking forehead. And then he goes, Canyon, if I'm willing to do this in an interview, imagine what I'm going to be willing to do in that cage. Honestly, a fucking bar.
see, the way you do it at home, kids, if you're watching on YouTube, which you should subscribe to our YouTube at Crossbody Work, all that. So the way it works is you put the little thumbtacks here on your desk. It's real nice right here. And you just you just slam your fucking head into it. And apparently you get over. That's how it works. You just slam your head.
Just a little thump.
You just slam your head into it. I wrote this man's crazy. This man's crazy.
This man is genuinely insane, and we will find out how insane he is after this break.
We're gonna take a break. When we get back, he goes to CZW. Back in the break, and Necro Butcher's success in IWA Mid-South led to him becoming a big attraction for hardcore-oriented indie promotions. So after ECW went out of business and was bought by WWE, there was a big gap in the market for hardcore promotions. And a lot of indies were like, our thing we're going to do is be a hardcore promotion. We're going to just bring deathmatch wrestling from Japan. We've done the tape training. We're just going to do that. And of course, one of the biggest and best to come out of it was Combat Zone Wrestling. So Necro Butcher joined Combat Zone Wrestling and worked a program with, I'm going to make sure I say this guy's name right, Wife Beater.
Wife beater.
He lost to him in the first tournament of death in 2002. He returned the following year, was eliminated in round 2 by Ian Rotten. And then the third annual tournament of death was in the final and finally won the tournament in the fourth year, defeating John Zandig and Nick Gage in the final. It made him the first ever person to win both the King of the Death match and the Tournament of Death. Him and Nick Gage would have their issues constantly when they were in CZW, and that leads to our next match. We have the Tough Crazy Bastards, which is Necro Butcher and Toby Klein, which is a country music name if I've ever heard one, going up against the Hate Club, hate spelled H8. Very cool. I get it. I, too, have texted in the 2000s, which is Justice Payne and Nick Gage. It's for the CZW tag titles. Falls Count Anywhere at CZW. Violent by Design, Synthesized Euphoria. I didn't know that all of these shows were named like fucking Fall Out Boy songs. June 11th, 2005.
My songs know what you did in the dark.
You know what song slaps? Grand Theft Autumn. It slaps. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where is your boy tonight? I
I
hope
got
it's a
I got
gentleman.
into a I got into a so I've been pelotoning every morning for the
Flex.
last couple of weeks, and I
What's it like
did
to be better than people?
it's great. It's great. Yeah. Uh I wake up, I'm just so humble. I'm like, "Oh, you see all these people in the world? I'm better than every single one of them."
I wake up and
Um
flip off people out my window.
yeah, literally every single one of them. There's a kid that walked by, I go, "Hey kid, fuck you. I'm better than you." I'm sorry.
Eat shit, child.
Hey kid, fork you. I'm better than you."
Fork you.
um and I did like a 45-minute pop punk ride.
Oh,
And
hell yeah.
it's two of them were Panic at the Disco songs from their first album, and they were like
Mm.
pseudo deep cuts. So they're
Okay.
like insanely long titles that make absolutely no fucking sense.
Yeah.
And I was
The
like,
best.
"Oh, let's go. We're so back." Um and yeah, that's where that's my story on 2000s pop punk and why it's so important. Um Klein comes out alone, and then he starts like a house on fire, just beating up both dudes, and then he just gets double teamed.
Yeah.
Necro limps out. I guess he got beat up in the back. I don't know what the fuck happened to Necro Butcher. But he limps out with the trash can lid and starts smacking that motherfucker around.
Yeah. He comes out, got the garbage can lid, does the smacks. I also with this I realized I'm like, wow, Necro Butcher. It's a very hard look to make the long hair plus bald spot work, and here he is just crushing it.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is literally he looks like my version of Trevor from GTA 5.
Yeah, that's actually pretty accurate, but he makes it work. It's all part of the gimmick.
What do you mean he
Uh,
makes it work? What's wrong with Trevor from GTA 5?
he's insane. Necro with a top rope senton onto everybody. Hate Club gets tossed into the barricades, and then we're just brawling into South Philly. We're brawling where we were. We went to the ECW
Yeah.
arena, and people
Yeah.
get tossed into garage doors. We're in the parking lot. Payne gets suplexed on the parking lot like cement, asphalt. I was like,
Yeah, I
that
was like, what
sucks.
the hell? Butcher is just repeatedly ramming Gage's face into the garage door repeatedly. They're fighting on the bleachers. Necro hits a suplex to Payne on the bleachers, which must have fucking sucks. Bleachers have zero give to them, and they're not supposed to.
No, they're not. Also,
um,
I looked up the best absurdly long pop punk song titles, and I just want to read a couple out to you.
oh, I got this.
Okay.
Say it and let me try to guess the band.
The only difference between martyrdom and suicide is press
That's
coverage.
Panic at the Disco.
That's Panic
It's
at the
one of the
Disco, and it's
songs that
great.
I heard on.
I'm made of wax, Larry. What are you made of?
Ooh, Taking Back Sunday.
It's a day to remember.
Ow.
Champagne for my real friends, real pain for my sham friends.
Oh, this is. I know the band. I can't remember the. Oh, who is it?
That is Fall Out Boy one.
Oh, mother.
Yeah, that's a Fall Out Boy one.
Then there's
and this
what
one
is
is
it?
going to be
16 Candles, but or whatever.
yeah, and then this one is we're going to be really easy to find. The name of I slept with someone in Fall Out Boy, and all I got in return was this stupid song written about me.
Oh, it's Fall Out Boy.
Yeah, exactly. A very easy one to find.
That I believe is the name of one of the One Tree Hill episodes.
I'd hate to be you when people find out what the song is about.
That is that Sleeping with Sirens?
It's Mayday Parade.
Oh my god, I get it's the same band to me. I know one
They're
is
all kind of the
Screamcore and one is not, but it's the same band to me.
There's a good reason these tables are numbered, honey. You just haven't thought of it yet.
Oh, that's either Fall Out Boy or Panic, and I don't know which one. Is it
It's
Panic?
Yeah. Back to the match after that fun little aside. I feel like that should be the name of our podcast. Back to the match after this fun little aside. If we wanted to have a long pop punk named podcast, that would be the name of it.
Our
Back to the
intro
match.
is thank or what is it? Thank Esteban. God will thank you, or God will come soon, or whatever the fuck.
Klein gets run to the sidewall. Necro gets hit with a chair. Payne has Necro back into the arena at least now. Has Necro at the top of the stands and is just chopping him,
Yes.
which I thought was good. There's a suplex on the stands, which looks like it sucks.
Yes. There is at one point here, so Necro just starts attacking Gage's cut on the top of his head. And
He's
it
just
is
fucking
brutal.
stabbing him.
It's just freaking stabbing him. And it's the same cut that was already busted open. He's just stabbing him. There's a near fall. Gage fucking paints Necro with a chair shot when he's like leaning up against the ropes. Gage
Mhm.
is on the outside, just comes through, hits him with a drive-by fucking chair shot to the face. They're just sitting on him and Gage just start sitting in chairs in the middle of the ring. They just start throwing hands while sitting down.
I love this because they're actually just clearly hitting each other. Before this, Payne and Klein go all the way up to the sound booth balcony and then proceed to Payne gets tossed off the balcony and goes feet first through a table, which of all the ways to go through a table is probably not the best.
I would say, aside from going head first, that's probably the worst way to do it.
Yes, exactly.
Because it's angled. So when it like collapses
Yeah,
in, you
you're
are
gonna
probably going to fucking get a bad ankle injury.
correct. Also, at one point, commentary says ringside looks like a street corner in Fallujah, and I was like, Jesus
Where the
Christ,
fuck is Fallujah?
Iraq. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, dear God.
I am not 100% sure, but I hope. Yeah, Al Fallujah is in Iraq. So
Well then, we get a Jesus Christ. At one point, Gage and Payne suplex Necro from inside the ring to the floor, which has no padding on it. It's just
no,
the hard ass cement whatever floor. Uh it sucks for him.
yeah.
Then Gage does a brain buster to Klein on a open chair. Uh Event there's a spike power driver spot. We get a nice Tiger Driver 97 by Necro for
Do you
near
know how
fall.
fucking jarring it is when this match was like you get stabbed and thrown off things, and then Necro Butcher's like, here's a Tiger Driver 97 that looks clean as hell in the middle of the
Clean as
ring. I'm
hell.
like,
What a rotation. Who's that on? Was that Payne or was it
it was on
Gage? I don't
Gage.
remember.
It was on Nick
It was
Gage.
so clean.
Necro is setting up a chair and he sets Gage up on the chair, and then he tells people, hey, throw chairs in the ring just like the old ECW spot, and everyone obliges and tries to kill Gage. There is
It's
one
buried.
security guard who is trying to get people to stop, and it's a very funny watch. Everyone should go and watch that security guard because he's like, "No, wait, don't, no, he wasn't ready,
No.
no,
You're
he's having a hard time."
ready.
Necro just
SummerSlam
does a
Sentinel.
senton onto the pile of chairs that that Gage is under.
It's a near fall. There's
Yeah,
a near fall on that.
yeah,
Gage does a superplex on the mountain of chairs, and it's a near fall too.
yeah.
I was like, what the fuck are we doing here?
There's a pain driller.
Killing the business.
Necro kicks out at 3, but the bell rings, which is weird. So they say he won the match, but then the ref just restarts it. I was like, okay.
No.
And all this to have Necro get Germaned onto the chairs and get pinned immediately after.
Yeah, which is so dumb. Hey, Evan, you want to know something fun?
Sure.
So the next match is my recommendation for the week. It's Necro Butcher versus Samoa Joe. Do you want to know when this match takes place?
When?
Like a couple hours after that first one.
Are you shitting me?
It's on the
It's
same day.
It's the same day.
It's the same day. And if I looked on Cage Match and the tag match was listed first, and I tried finding the start times for the events, but I couldn't get them. The tag match takes place earlier than the main, because I guess him and Joe go on as the main event of whatever that show is.
Yeah.
The Mid-South show.
IW Mid-South, something to prove.
And he was somewhere in the middle of the card for that tag match. So he does the tag match, leaves, and does the main event of the fucking IWA Mid-South show with Joe.
I did not put that together. I did not put 2 and 2 together in Little Bad Weather there. And
Takes place on my dad's birthday.
this is crazy.
I'm
gonna tell a little story about something with Necro Butcher first, and then we'll get back into
right
the
ahead.
same fucking day apparently. So at Cage of Death later on in the year, Necro would have a match. He was along with Toby Klein and Joker. They took on Nick Gage, Justice Payne, and John Zandig. And during the match, Payne was supposed to perform a move called Pain Thriller on Necro, and Necro sandbagged him. After a second attempt, Payne threw Necro over the top rope and onto the floor to be like, hey, man, fuck you. Necro got back up and returned to the ring to fight him for real. He began throwing punches, kicks, landed multiple shots to the Shocks officials who were watching and taking care of other wrestlers in the cage. And then afterwards, apparently both men were just fine. There was no heat after. They were like, all right.
You know,
It
sometimes
reminds
you
me
just
of,
got to duke it out like men.
It reminds me a little bit of when Braun Strowman took liberties with Brock, and Brock clocked him once and was like, "Slow down," and Braun was like, "You're right.
Braun's like, you're good. Hey, okay, all right.
You don't got to tell me twice." All right, so back to the same fucking day. It is Necro Butcher versus Samoa Joe, IWA Mid-South Something to Prove, June 11th, 2005. It's the main event of IWA's first ever show in the ECW arena, so same place.
Yep.
Necro has a shirt that says "Choose Death," and I've never seen merch that makes the most sense.
So here's the thing, right? I do not love to live in hyperbole a whole lot.
Okay.
This is probably the best sub 10-minute match I've ever seen.
Ooh.
This was an incredible match.
You know what? We know what helps this match?
Go ahead.
Commentary. Were you listening?
Yes. Yeah. For the most part.
Did you recognize who's on commentary?
I did not. Is it Joey Styles?
Oh, buddy, I don't know who's play-by-play, but CM Punk and Eddie Kingston are both on commentary.
I did not notice that shit.
Eddie Kingston does the equivalent of just those New York videos you see, where he just comes in with just a wild thing to say every like minute or two. He's just like, "Yo,
if you see these dogs in the front yard, just know upstairs I'm going hard.
Ariana Grande, come here, I'll miss you. Take you to Cyclone, Coney Island." So Necro shirt, he tosses the ref to the side. Joe also tosses the ref to the side, and I'm like, if I'm the ref, I'm just like, all right, fuck me, I guess. Like, nobody on my side in this match. You guys can die.
Joe, it's a step up running into Gary and his suicide forearm. They start fighting in the crowd. Necro is no selling kicks and throwing hands, and that is all I can say. Until he gets busted open by some fucking stiff ass headbutts from Samoa Joe. This match, genuinely, I felt like Samoa Joe was genuinely trying to beat this dude up.
I love the way that it portrays Joe. Necro Butcher's just like impervious to any wrestling thing. Like, he's like, I've been stabbed. Like, what is your coquina clutch going to do to me? The answer is nothing.
And Muscle Buster, I have no neck, brother.
Speaking of no neck, there's a power slam on the outside where Necro does not rotate and just lands directly on the top of his fucking head.
No, brother. It was his fucking forehead. It was right here.
Bad idea.
Right on the fucking hairline, brother.
Right where he put the thumbtacks earlier.
It is devastating. The worst part about it is, right, he does this. This dude is probably 100% concussed.
No.
Right? Because that is like concrete. It's a concrete fucking hard floor. And he just ate it forehead first on a power slam and immediately eats an unprotected chair shot to the head.
Is Tua Tagovailoa the Necro Butcher of the NFL? Just not protecting his head?
Thing. Does Tua need to start training in pro wrestling? Because, like, I just think I've seen so many wrestlers do that. Like, Necro Butcher honestly probably did that and he was fine. Tua Tagovailoa, if he took that fucking suicide forearm, he probably would have been out for 3 years.
I would love it if an NFL player bladed. I would think that's the funniest fucking thing in the world. Like,
just the New York Giants are tired, so they're like,
would
fucking
do that?
just.
It's like, like Dak gets sacked, and you just see him
Dak
like
ain't blading, brother. Dak's not blading, brother.
Who,
Dak's not blading, brother.
I know which quarterback would blade. I have it.
Josh Allen.
Yes, it's Josh Allen. That motherfucker would go through a table. I love Josh Allen. So
Josh Allen's gonna be at the post-game press conference like, I fucking love this shit.
Josh Allen's in there. He wins Super Bowl with a tear in my eye.
Just it's fucking football. It's the violence. I love this shit. Just stabbing himself in the forehead. It's like, Josh, you were supposed to do that on the field.
He's putting thumbtacks in his head, and he's like, if I'm willing to do this, Patrick Mahomes.
Necro throws a guardrail at Joe. Not the guard, the guard rail. Just the entire rail.
It's a big running boot, tosses Joe into the guardrail, and then brings the guardrail in the ring and is like, yeah, and just lands on him.
Then he hits a senton on it. And then we get one of the worst spots I've ever seen in the history of professional wrestling.
Sure.
Samoa Joe goes for what I think is supposed to be an exploder suplex off
Yeah.
the apron to the floor. Necro does not rotate at all.
No.
Lands in the exact same fucking spot of his forehead. Evan, I saw chunks in the blood.
We haven't.
There
We
were
don't know for
chunks
sure
in the
if
blood.
Necro Butcher is just immune to just like one spot. Like he's got like one happy spot that if he lands on it, he's like, no, like nothing hurts me.
There were chunks of his blood. There's chunks in the blood, and it was on the floor because that's how bad it was dripping out of him.
Commentary asks, like the play-by-play guy asked Punk, like, what would you do if you had to have a match against Necro Butcher? And he just said, I would sign a contract with WWE and run far, far away.
Yes, I did hear that.
You get a German onto the setup chair by Joe. Joe with some crazy knees to
protected knee headshots, man.
Necro is so bloody. He looks like a promo photo from the Descent. Like he looks
literally
insane. He looks like the end of Carrie.
Oh my god. He looks like a teenage boy at one time of the month. Joe hits a power bomb on the guardrail. German on an open chair for a near fall. And Punk goes, I'm going to pull my car around. Joe's going to throw him in front of me. And I'm going to run the son of a bitch over. Like,
there's a head kick after those knees. And Necro can't stand. He can't stand, so he doesn't meet the 10 count. And I was like, oh, that's weird.
Bryce
like,
Remsburg just counts the fucking thing. He's like, this is over.
Yeah, he's dead. He loses.
This is like a 7-minute match.
Necro is up and is chasing after Joe, and he's so pissed. And then somebody comes out. I don't know. Do you know who came out after to talk to the crowd?
Was that wasn't that Blue Meanie? Kind of like Blue Meanie.
That was not Blue Meanie.
Oh, that is freaking hair.
Blue Meanie did not slim
but
down.
But it looks like him, you know what I mean? It looks like Blue Meanie like now.
Yeah. The guy talks about they're gonna put together a rematch for next time. They would have a rematch, and so
it's Mid-South, right? It's not Gage Sapolsky.
If you watch the clip, so if you open the clip, this is also my recommendation this week. The clips is 30 minutes long, and I remember I was doing that. I was like, "Oh shit, okay, 30-minute match. Like this is crazy." He has like a fucking long banger against Joe. No, they just replay the whole match and the whole promo after the match
and replays.
Again. It's a lot.
Like they give you instant replays. I was like, "What the hell?" Seeing that second forehead landing spot off the apron in slow motion, like, is legitimately one of the most traumatic experiences I've had as a wrestling fan.
If there's one thing we do here, it's traumatize ourselves for the future. It's for the people's entertainment. All right.
Just a bad day for this guy.
We're going to take our last break. When we get back, Necro Butcher goes to Ring of Honor. Back from the break, Necro first wrestled in Ring of Honor in 2006. He came in as part of Chris Hero's invasion with the company. And, of course, we talked about the CZW versus ROH death match. Go listen to our Best of ROH episode that we did. That's where we covered that one. He returned to ROH in August 2007 at ROH's third pay-per-view, which was called Man Up, and was part of the debuting Age of the Fall alongside Jimmy Jacobs, Tyler Black, a.k.a. Seth Rollins, and Lacey. For those who don't know, what was Age of the Fall?
Like one of the greatest debuts in the history of pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Like just hung...
The Briscoes, right?
Hung Jay Briscoe upside down while he's bleeding after beating him bloody. And Jimmy Jacobs is just under it in a white suit, just getting soaked by the blood, drinking the blood. It is like genuinely so fucking crazy. It's like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's basically like if you took the original like cult leader Bray kind of character, but you also made him like bloodthirsty. That was kind of what Jimmy Jacobs was like.
Okay.
Necro was just Necro the whole time. And then Tyler Black was weird because he was just like a normal wrestler guy.
Yeah,
but he was also part of this group.
You ever have a friend that as you grow up, your friend goes through like a phase and you're like, that's still my boy. But like, he's just weird. Like I had friends who got like super emo and I didn't. Like I was like, I like my life and my parents and stuff. And I'm like, that's still my boy. He's just wears eyeliner now. He's just, it's just things.
He's like, fuck you guys. I'm gonna kill myself. You're like, yeah, go fork yourself, man.
And I'm like, yeah, but we're gonna watch the Leaf game later, right? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I still like hockey. Like I'm Canadian. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I listen to
So
My Chemical Romance, but I still like Austin Matthews.
here's my question. The match that we have is Necro Butcher teamed with Tyler Black versus Jimmy Jacobs and Brody Lee at who are listed as Age of the Fall. So
Yes.
what is the breakdown of who leaves Age of the Fall? How does that all
So
happen?
Necro gets kicked out first.
Okay. I mean,
Um
if there's anyone I would expect to be kicked out of a thing first, it's Necro Butcher.
Necro gets kicked out first and he gets replaced by what was his name? He has one name. It's like some with a D. Uh he gets replaced by Mother Trucker.
Delirious.
Delirious. Jesus. He gets replaced by Delirious in the group. And then Brody joins the fold right around the time that Tyler Black is kicked out of the group. I think his introduction might have coincided with the Tyler Black exit. And after that, combined forces to sort of take down Jimmy Jacobs. So it was pretty much Jimmy Jacobs, Delirious, and Brody Lee, Tyler Black, Necro Butcher, and I want to say it was Austin Aries
Mm.
was the one that helped them out. Because I think Jimmy Jacobs was making like a title push at that point,
Yeah.
and Aries was the Ring of Honor World Champion.
Makes sense.
And then that eventually this leads to just Tyler Black winning the Ring of Honor World title. But
Which is a
for
nice
our
thing.
purposes here, it's that's pretty much what happens. They sort of like revamped the group,
Yeah.
pushing out Necro Butcher and Tyler Black so that they can focus on doing their own
How
thing.
Judgment Day, like none of the original members are in Judgment Day anymore.
Well, like
Right?
yeah,
Yeah.
but also like no. I mean, it's the same feud. They're just
Yeah.
we've just shuffled around the pieces.
Move everybody around. So this is ROH Steel City Clash, March 20th, 2009. This is just a good match. This is the
Yeah, this
best
is solid.
wrestling match that Necro Butcher has.
Falls count anywhere. It's anything goes really.
Yeah.
Black leaps on Brody. Necro unloads on Jacobs. Necro Butcher has some great like just nonstop punches. Like
Mm-hmm.
when he's doing the like it looks really cool every time he does it because he's just a freaking burly like mountain man. Like if you told me that he was a part of what the hell is the crocodile folks, the crocodile hillbilly, what is that show? The Duck Dynasty. That's the one I'm thinking of. I don't know where the hell I went to crocodile. If you had told me that Necro Butcher was one of the Duck Dynasty people, I'd be like, yeah, I
Well, yeah,
believe
he's
that.
got the beard and he's got the temperament. The idea of them being called the Crocodile Hillbillies, I think, is so much better. They should be the Crocodile Hillbillies. I'm going to call them. Before we dive into the actual match, I looked through the card here. If you showed this to a current wrestling fan, I feel like they'd be super interested in this card, just based on some of the guys who are on it. Obviously, like you
Well,
have
I
this
mean, it's
match with
literally most of wrestling's top people at
yeah.
this point.
So like Tyler Black, so obviously Seth Rollins done it with Necro Butcher against Jimmy Jacobs and Brody Lee, but also there's matches like Claudio Castagnoli, aka Cesaro or Claudio, versus Brent Albright and Jerry Lynn. So that's sick. Danielson in a match against Mike Quackenbush.
Ooh.
Yeah. Delirious even had a match against Corey Graves.
Corey Graves is on here. All right.
Sterling James Keenan. And then the other matches are Rhett Titus and Kenny King versus Matt Cross and Eric Stevens. And the main event is Kenta and El Generico, aka Sami Zayn, aka versus Nigel McGuinness and Davey Richards. Like that, like this is
Oh
a
my
good
God.
card. Yeah.
Oh, Nigel's the champion at this point, actually.
And his fucking hair. This is a
Yes. Shout out to Nigel McGuinness. As of recording,
still
he
got
came
it.
out of retirement a couple days ago
Still
to
got it.
challenge Danielson, and he still got that shit on him.
So the first couple things that happened, like this is false count anywhere. Jacobs hits a dive on the Necro. Black hits one on Brody Lee. Necro has a sign that just says Section D and smack.
He's out here
Jacobs with
smacking
it.
Brody Lee around with it.
It's great. Lee and Black are brawling in the crowd as well. Jacobs runs into a camera scaffolding. Necro attacks Lee from behind. If you watch that very closely while that's happening, you'll see Hagrid just chilling in the crowd. There is a guy who looks gigantic and has a big beard. Also, R.I.P. to Dame Maggie Smith, who passed away today.
Devastating. That was probably going to be part of my life advice this week.
Well, we can
Just
still be part of life advice.
Everybody shout out.
but also you're a wrestler, Harry, and a damn good one, I reckon. Necro tries to powerbomb Jacobs through the merch table. Don't disrespect the merch table like that. People got to make a living.
Yeah, it's Ring of Honor, man. That's how they make their money.
So all of this, I wanted to get through all that part of the match. Like they were just brawling, just so I could talk about this. There's a Buffalo Bills jersey in the crowd, and I'm like, oh, number 81 on the Buffalo Bills. It's 2009.
Terrell Owens.
Is that who I think it is? It's either a Terrell Owens jersey because he would have just gotten into Buffalo, or I think potentially more likely is that it is a Peerless Price jersey,
That is
aka
Terrell Owens.
an unbelievable name that is not given enough. Being named Peerless is one of the hardest fucking things I've ever heard.
Yeah.
This is my son. He's peerless. Are you kidding me?
Like he's peers? No peers.
No peers.
Just
Clears.
less.
He clears no peers. That name goes hard, man. Peerless Price.
Like good for them, right?
It's definitely a Terrell Owens jersey, but still.
Yeah, it's a Terrell Owens jersey. 100%. Necro has the ring bell and he's ringing that motherfucker.
He's just running around going ding 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 ding.
Running around ringing it. Brody wipes his ass out, gets a near fall out of it.
Yeah. There's some good actual like wrestling moves in here. Like this is
that's cool. But Necro goes face first into a chair wedged in the corner.
He sure does. It's not a good time. And then he runs spine first into the chair, then runs face first in the same chair. Here's a question for you, and I feel like you're an expert on this. Is Necro Butcher on the Mount Rushmore of jorts-wearing wrestlers? Because obviously we know who number one with a bullet is, and that's John Cena. But who else is on the Mount Rushmore of jorts-wearing wrestlers?
It's like him, just incredible.
Yes.
Rob Van Dam when he's doing a run-in.
Oh, I got some for you.
Run-in Rob Van Dam. Austin. I got
Austin's
some. Obviously.
So, Austin's an option. Raven's an option.
Ooh. No, Necro's out of this.
Billy Kidman's an option.
Billy Kidman's not on my list.
And Jamie Noble's an option. Like trailer. Right. I think it might be Cena.
So Cena's number one with a bullet.
I feel like Raven is probably up like the second guy on there.
Yeah, I'd say Raven's locked in. Maybe not set. We're not going in order. I mean, Cena, we're going in order. Well, but everything after Cena's not in order.
The president's in order either, but like Cena's
Well, I'm putting fucking Cena in order. That's number one. Everything else is not in order. We got
two more spots. So Cena, Raven.
Raven's in with a bullet. You write that one in. You write that one in pen,
in ink,
not pencil. Yeah. All right, here we go. We got to look at Austin as a 50%. So it's not Austin. It's 50% of Austin.
I'd still take that over Just Incredible.
50% of Austin worth more than Jamie Noble?
No, I don't think. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think so.
I think Jamie Noble's in.
And then I think it's half of Austin.
Then I think it's half of Austin. Yeah. I'll give you that one.
The best jorts wearing, the jorts Mount Rushmore. This is the content that people come for.
Well, we got to throw my dad in there, you know.
Shout out to my dad.
My dad's still rocking jorts to this day.
Jacobs accidentally spears Lee as he dives off the apron and Necro dodges. This leads to an opening for Necro in black. There's a chair shot to the back. He drapes Lee on the table and does a leg drop off the apron through the table.
Which is fun.
It is fun. There's a really good spot where Jacobs goes face first on the second turnbuckle. We got a big lifting inverted DDT by Tyler Black. And then he goes for a lion
like
salt.
The paradox or something.
Yeah, they call that something else too. He goes for the lion salt, but Jacobs gets the knees up. Necro does a bulldog at ringside, and I don't think protects Lee at all.
Yeah, but Brody's got that. Brody's good. He sticks his hands out. He knows what he's doing. He's a professional. Jacobs hits slight spread number 2 for a near fall. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, we're doing this now. All right. Necro finds a wooden chair, just hits Jimmy Jacobs with it.
Yeah, and then a side slam by Lee on the apron by Necro. Black is hit with a chair because he wants to go up and hit a Phoenix Splash, and he gets hit with a chair instead.
He hits an F5 right before that.
He does hit an F5, which I thought was really weird. And then Jacobs just locks in a choke to get the win for Age of the Fall.
And this old guillotine just...
Yeah. So, a couple things that I found in Necro Butcher. So let's talk about where he's at now.
Let's talk about what's happened to him.
In 2016, he retired. In June 11, 2016, he had a retirement match that was in the main event of Pro Wrestling Syndicate Supercard 2016. He teamed with Grim Reaper and Smokey C and lost
With
to
whom?
Grim Reaper and Smokey C and lost to Sabu, Rhino, and Devin Moore. Then he came out of retirement to wrestle at Joey Janela's Spring Break, as people do. He then also, in July of 2020, announced that he had Hodgkin lymphoma and was using a wheelchair at the time.
Oh,
In February of 2021, he announced that he was lymphoma-free, which is something you love to hear.
love that.
Somewhere in here, it's not on his Wikipedia in any way, shape, or form. He begins going by MAGA Butcher. Like that MAGA. Like MAGA, MAGA, MAGA.
Here's the thing. I don't know if he actually is.
I have no idea.
I am going to assume that he is because he's from West Virginia. And also, just look at him. However, I have no freaking clue. But he is like over the top about it to a degree where I'm like, I don't know if he's just taking the MAGA thing and like making it pro wrestling. So it's like over the top.
Which,
Or
not a surprise.
if he's taking it and he doesn't believe in it, so he's portraying it how he believes like it looks, and it's just ridiculous.
And
Which
while
either way,
while the MAGA Butcher, he has a match at XPW Theater of Brutality, October 20th of last year, 2023, against Dr. Redacted. I would like you to explain yourself putting this fucking match on here.
So here's the thing.
Actual fuck is going on?
Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. I had to put something from the MAGA Butcher days.
Okay. And the best one you found was a fight in a nightclub in Gary, Indiana that has 12 people in it?
I'm going to be completely honest with you. It is damn near impossible to find a match from his MAGA Butcher days.
This is filmed by like a dude named Jeff. Like, this is not...
just on his phone.
On his phone. And like, luckily phones were good last year.
But his phone is actually just like the iPhone 10.
This match is insane. So there literally is no ring. They're just fighting in front of us between a bar.
Yeah,
and a stage.
there is a band right on the
There's
stage.
a band, which like more wrestling needs bands. That's what I learned from Lucha Underground. There's right hands to Dr. Redacted. I want to make sure I use his correct medical credentials. He runs him into a speaker, hits him with a mic stand, and then Redacted hits some rights and tosses a chair in Necro's head.
Redacted MD.
Yes. Dr. Redacted looks like he's fighting as little Billy Corgan. Like he looks just like Billy Corgan.
He just looks like some like air quotes rich guy from Miami.
Yeah. Like he got really into crypto. But
like,
he doesn't actually have any money
looks
anymore.
like he's short, he's bald, he's wearing air quotes nice clothing. This dude is if you told me he's a plastic surgeon in Miami, I'd believe you.
There's 3 of the light tube shots, which is like the go-to like hardcore weapon for smaller promotions.
Butcher is just on a chair, getting hit in the fucking forehead, the same spot. I'm convinced this area for Butcher, right? The fucking middle top part of his fucking forehead, right where his hairline is,
so different.
That like if you hold a baseball right in that area where your brow is, that entire spot that is covered by the baseball, I'm convinced that it's just numb.
I think it's made of metal. I think it's made of adamantium.
Might be, brother. At this
There's
point,
a senton to Butcher by the doctor here. He does a second one to knock him out. And then he grabs Barbie, but since we're on the indies and it's a little bit lower budget, it's actually a Bratz doll. And it gets rubbed into Butcher's head. We are brawling to the back through like the kitchen door. And obviously, the people who are in the crowd can't go there, so Jeff can't.
Neither can Jeff, apparently.
Jeff can't film it, so I just wrote, "We can't see," which
I can't see
is also the chant that happened at WrestleMania.
I'm legally blind.
Because there were times we could not fucking see.
The fucking chant should have been, "I can't feel my fucking fingers."
That too. God, that was cold. Butcher comes back carrying Redacted. And I feel like we're covering a Chris Benoit match team, and I'm saying Redacted.
No, he's just a plastic surgeon from Miami.
It's me. My name is
That's why his
Doctor
name is
Redacted.
Dr. Redacted. He's actually the doctor from The Simpsons.
Which one?
The weird one with the accent.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, that one.
Hi, Dr. Nick. So, Nick Riviera, you uncultured swine.
I am. The Simpsons is literally older than I am.
It's older than I am, too. I know things.
Is it?
Yes.
What the hell did The Simpsons
I
premiere?
said that way too confidently.
I thought this was like 96.
I said that way too confidently. The Simpsons debuted in 1989. Let's fucking go.
Oh, wow. Damn.
The ref gets punched by Butcher.
Brother, we skipped a very important part here.
Is it the light tubes?
So there are light tubes, and Butcher just throws them on the ground, and then scoop slams Redacted on it. We get a chair shot. And then, out of freaking nowhere, there is a barbed wire crutch. It is a walking crutch that is wrapped in barbed wire.
That's hardcore, brother.
And he hits this motherfucker with it. What? And listen, man, Butcher threatens the liberal elite, the referee, and then just socks him right in the face. He is taking down the liberal establishment one by one, brother. We get an arm hold spot by Redacted.
Mm-hmm.
And then he smashes a beer bottle on Butcher, who fucking no-sells it, just grabs him, puts his arms around his goddamn throat, and starts squeezing the goddamn life out of him. The match never officially ends, even though this dude is clearly out cold. The ref is just staring at him like, and then finally the match ends. MAGA Butcher wins. There is a fat guy with a Trump Take America Back massive flag, wearing overalls, titties all out the sides and shit.
That's true.
And I don't even know what to say other than I don't know if this man is a creative genius or like I need to like donate $5 because this is kind of sad.
I know Necro Butcher also recently had a problem in Japan. He broke his hip, I believe, during a match, and so he's still on the mend.
Should have landed on his forehead.
That's true. His invulnerability. What did you think going and looking at the career of Necro Butcher?
Brother, what did you think going back and looking at the career of Necro Butcher?
Every week, my wife will ask me like, "Oh, like who are you covering this week?" And sometimes it's like a wrestler she knows, and sometimes like I can explain. I can usually give like a 1-sentence explainer on like, "Oh, like this person was like big in '80s Japan." She's like, "Oh, that's cool." And she goes this week. She goes because I was away for work, and she was texting me, and she's like, "Oh, like so you doing your match prep?" And I was like, "Yep." She's like, "How's it going?" And I was like, "It's going interesting." And she was like, "Well, who are you covering?" And I was like, "It's this guy named Necro Butcher, and he's crazy." And she was like, "Crazy how?" And I sent her a screenshot of the which match was it? It was the tag match. I sent her a photo of Necro Butcher during that tag match. I was like, "This is this guy's every day." And she went, "Oh." And I'm like, "Yeah, like death matches are not my thing. The only exception is when we covered Onita and everything fucking exploded all the time. But like deathmatch wrestling is not my thing. I can appreciate it as like a style of the art form. It's like how like I don't like all rap, but I appreciate like I get it. I understand people who like other certain types. Like I know what types I like, but it's not for everybody. To make a career in it, like to sacrifice your body for the entertainment of others, like I was entertained. I was thoroughly entertained in a lot of these matches. Not
you
the
were
last one.
entertained by MAGA Butcher versus
No,
Dr. Redacted?
that's why I said not the last one.
Why not?
But in the other matches, I was entertained, and I respect anybody who's going to put their body on the line to entertain people like that. But what did you think?
I love Necro Butcher. He was such a interesting little chestnut at the middle and bottom of the Ring of Honor cards when I was a fan watching them, and he's just fucking crazy. Like there's no other way of describing it. He has the same level of craziness to him that like Terry Funk had in the 90s and Mick Foley had for a while there, where like these dudes just weren't afraid to hurt themselves to get over or get other people over or get
Hmm.
the match over or whatever the hell needed to be done. And Necro Butcher was absolutely over. I'm not saying the guy would have been like a top star. He was never a top guy in, a meaningful, like high level promotion. Like he wasn't a top guy at Ring of Honor. He wasn't
He wasn't going to
he
do
was
that.
an upper half of the card in CZW. And I like Mid South, he was the top half of the card there too, but he was never like a this guy, you're gonna make him the Ring of Honor world champion. Like that was never
Yeah,
gonna happen because there's a ceiling to him. But he is someone who the audience loves and appreciates, but is realistic about. He is a spectacle within himself.
yeah,
And I always think that those kinds of wrestlers, whether they be a hardcore style, the like horror, spooky style, or just like the springy ricochet style, like whatever it may be, I always think that like those specialty kinds of wrestlers always have
a
there's always a
spot.
hole for them in wrestling, and
Yeah,
you can't fill out a card without them. One style of them, and Necro Butcher really just fits that mold of, all right, we have a 6 match card here. One of
let's have
them's the
one
Necro
weird.
Butcher match.
Where's the
One of
weird
that is
thing?
the Necro Butcher match. And
Yeah.
honestly, it's probably gonna be freaking cool. Like if you go to an indie show, imagine you're at an indie show in 2007, and
Hmm.
you look at the card and you're like, oh, it's Necro Butcher versus Nick Gage in a fucking beer bottle death match. I'm in.
I'm sold.
I don't care what the main event is. I'm in. Like you just need things like that. The same way you need Will Ospreay versus Ricochet. The same way you'll enjoy Undertaker versus Kane, or or Bray Wyatt versus like fucking Spirit Squad. I don't even know. That's not a real match, but like shit like that. Like
Yeah,
it's a spectacle within itself. There's a reason for it. It's something that like it's a different taste or a flavor for the palate within an entire card, because pro wrestling has so much variety to it.
yeah.
And Necro Butcher is part of that. He's somewhere in that realm. Is he like the hardcore guy that I think of? No, because that guy's Nick Gage. But that's
That's
because
fair.
Nick Gage has had that longevity, whereas Necro Butcher was a little tiny bit right before him.
I just
Um,
picked. You said 2007, so I picked a random show that he's on in 2007,
of course.
and it's like he's in a three-way Mid South death match title three-way match with Deranged and Tank, and wins the title. But also on this card is like Chuck Taylor versus B.J. Whitmer, Roderick Strong versus Nate Webb, Ricochet in a match. Like there's clearly
Yeah.
other types of wrestling, and then also
And
this
then you got
crazy
your
shit,
freaking Necro Butcher match. Like it's one of those
which
things,
is
like
the
I said, like
longest match on. This is the longest match on the card.
you you have to have variety in wrestling, and hardcore style is not your thing. It's not necessarily my thing. Like I don't actively go out seeking hardcore wrestling, but I'll watch it. Like I can
Yeah.
stomach it very much. And so like Necro Butcher is one of those people who, yeah, he's a specialty wrestler, but he's damn good at what he does, and he's clearly someone who like can do the style that he does, and it hasn't taken, yeah, it's definitely taking a toll on his body, but like I don't know. I look at the guy now. I think the alcohol has probably done more damage to him than fucking wrestling has. Um, I don't know. I hope he's well. I hope the hip injury has cleared itself up,
Yeah.
and that he's able to continue living life pain free as he could possibly be.
Yeah,
Because
it's always the goal for these guys who sacrifice their bodies for us like
yes,
this. You just hope that they get to live a pain-free existence after
because
they hang them up.
the style was tough. The matches were even harder.
Mhm.
And he is truly one of those wrestlers. I have mentioned Necro Butcher multiple times on this podcast, and I do it because I just simply love the guy. So it's one of those wrestlers that I'm going to think of, because when I was a kid, I would think of the Necro Butcher matches. Oh, I'm gonna have a good time, because you don't see stuff like that.
Yeah, we're about to have a moment. All right. It was fun to cover Necro Butcher. Before we dive into who we're covering next week, you should like the podcast. You should rate, subscribe, all that good stuff, whether you're watching here on YouTube or listening to us wherever you get your podcasts. check out the merch. I got the hat. Javier's got the sweater on. The link is in the show notes. It's also on the pod page. All of that good stuff. Follow Javier wherever he tells you right now.
I'm on the Twitter machine at JMelloSports. I'd show the Twitter profile, but that would take too long because I didn't have it right like I did the last time.
Damn, I am also on Twitter at It's Evan Gomes, ITSEVANGOMES. Most important, follow the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Crossbody of Work. We got some exciting things cooking up for people, so make sure that you are followed to see them all. Next week, it's time, baby. Next week, we dive into not just any tag team, not just America's greatest tag team. We cover the world's greatest tag team. The gold standard Shelton Benjamin, Charlie Haas, Team Angle. I don't give a fuck what you call them. Just don't call them anything other than the world's greatest tag team. My boy Shelton Benjamin. I'm very excited. It's going to be good.
Yes, I'm excited. Can't wait to put the matches in for you because I
So
want to
good.
give you a nice little chestnut.
Give me some ROH stuff. Give me some Japan stuff.
Ev's been a busy boy over at his job. He's out there on the trails.
I am on the trails. I'm on the road for work a lot, and it is tiring. But
I just got to give my man's a little peace and quiet during the week to sit down there and giggle like a little schoolgirl watching
some little
Benjamin.
Shelty B.
Just
and honestly, watch some Charlie Haas. I was always a Charlie Haas guy too.
but Shelton's your bizzo.
Shelton's my boy.
That's all right. Your bizzo.
So next week, expect world's greatest tag team to be coming at you. A little programming note: the week after that, we are going to be taking a week off because life is too busy. Javier's flying away places. I'm traveling places. Our schedules don't match up, so we're taking a week off. But it's world's greatest tag team next week. Javier, it is time for everyone's favorite part of the podcast. Any final words for the people?
This week on Life Advice with Javier. R.I.P. to the Dame, man.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to Maggie Smith, an incredible actress. Genuinely an incredible person. She was obviously known as Professor McGonagall in Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. She was excellent in that role. I genuinely could not imagine a single other human being in that role besides her. She was in Downton Abbey. She was very good in that as well. She's an Oscar winner. She had a movie back in like '69 that she won the Oscars for, and
she was in Sister Act and Sister Act 2. She's in Hook, which is a great movie.
She's in so much. Just a genuinely great actress, genuinely great person, and we lost a good one today. And I wish her family nothing but the best, and I hope that her legacy outlives the span of life that she had. Like she was 89 years old. I hope that her legacy goes 178 years more at least, because she absolutely deserves it.
Her Best Actress in a Leading Role win was at the 42nd Academy Awards back in 1969 for The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie, a movie I have not heard of, but hey, maybe it's worth a watch.
I saw clips. She had that thing on her.
Yeah. In terms of acting,
cooking.
Maggie Smith cooked. She always cooked. I'm excited.
So good. Every single time. Come on, man.
That's not the life advice.
That's just, appreciate those, those people that you hold near and dear to your heart from your childhood, especially if they were older then and are even older now. And that, we're getting close. Not just necessarily grandparents and people like that, but celebrities, like, hey man, Michael Caine's getting up there. And I am going to hate the day that I get the notification that Michael Caine has passed away. I'm going to go and I'm going to appreciate Michael Caine movies and films and all that while I still got him, because that is a great performer right there. Same thing with Anthony Hopkins. Same thing with all these other guys that are just older.
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman, all these people who are just older. And you never know when their time is going to come. So just appreciate them while you have them. Because, time will come. Time comes for us all. And it's unfortunate. R.I.P. Maggie Smith. And yeah, take care of yourselves, guys.
Take care of yourselves out there. We are back next week with the world's greatest tag team. Thanks for listening as we cover the career of Necro Butcher. We'll see you next week.
Ain't no stopping me,
No.
no.